Well, in celebration of Women's Day, we've got our resident Dr. Darren Green in the house, and we're talking about all things health-related, specifically for women. But today we want to do things a little bit differently. We're chatting about women's health in general, and we want you to direct the conversation. So if you have a question for Dr. Darren Green concerning women's health, then why don't you give us a call, 083-913-3728. We're also discussing all that has changed in women's health over the past 100 years. What was different in 1916 to what is happening today? Dr. Darren Green, how are you?
Fantastic, thank you. Happy Women's Day.
Thank you so much. It's been such an incredible day. I'm just all emotional. It's been amazing. Okay, so we're talking health-related issues today. Everything that's changed from, let's say, 1916 to now. Shall we focus on, for instance, women and exercise? Because in the last 100 years, things have changed a lot.
Of course. It was regarded as uncool for a woman to actually move a lot and become hot and flustered.
Yeah.
Initially, it would actually demarcate a poorer class,
really,
as you were.
Breaking a sweat.
Breaking a sweat.
Yeah,
it was less ladylike, for example. And so we had, the era starting in that time for exercise through stretches only.
Wow.
And that was the breakthrough. Women started to stretch. Yeah. And then we went on to, obviously, vibrating things like the VibraSlim, the band that people used to wrap around themselves.
That shakes you.
And that was exercise at its best back then. And then later on we went into some rhythmical exercises where you'd lay on your back with your legs in the air, for example, and do a few tummy tilts and so forth. That then led to the 80s, where suddenly everyone wanted to get physical, like Jane Fonda.
I want to get physical, physical.
That's the one. And, leotards and so forth.
I know.
All that was very taboo back in the early 1900s, where it all went to buns and thighs, buns of steel campaigns in the 90s, and your thigh exercises, etc. So as the trends obviously have emerged and changed, you can imagine it's based a lot on what public perception of health was, and also what a healthy body looked like. So magazines and the influence of things like media and photography and modeling on the perfect lady's body, for example, that also molded a lot of the move in exercise.
It's quite interesting because back in the day, we would never have seen hashtags like beast mode or strong is the new skinny,
Correct,
So we've come quite a far way.
We have indeed. And if you think about it, people that are even going as far as the cosmetic industry now, with implants of their calves and buttocks, etc. Some people even their cheeks. So you must imagine that the shapes and the trends of what is perceived as beautiful has changed. Another one is simply just the light and sun exposure. People that were very fair were regarded as perfect beauty back in the day. Now everyone wants that golden tan, the bronzer, etc.
Exactly. But Dr. Darren Green, we do have a caller on the line, Lerato from Johannesburg. Good morning, Lerato. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Very, very good. Happy Women's Day to you.
Good morning.
Same to you.
Lerato, what is your question for Dr. Darren Green?
My question is, I've been trying to conceive for the past 6 months now, but then for the past 3 months, I've noticed that I do not get cervical mucus. Could that be the cause that I'm getting difficulties in conceiving?
Good question. So
Thank you, Lerato.
So she mentions a fertility issue. So I'd like to obviously know what her history was before the 6 months. In other words, whether she was on any contraceptive, which one she was on, etc. That's important because, before we start worrying about there being infertility issues, we obviously look at that. What medication have you been taking to prevent falling pregnant in the first place? So cervical mucus is very important. It's very important with the carrying of the sperm cells, etc. and can affect, obviously, the motility and the likelihood of conception. So not a main or big cause as such, but certainly something that's worth a visit to a gynae for. And certainly, 6 months, don't give up. That's all I can say.
Keep on trying. That's the fun part, at least, hey?
Exactly.
But you say you would need to know what was happening before the process of trying to start have baby.
We use a guideline up to 12 months after someone stopped an oral contraceptive as well, before we go in and spend lots of money doing extensive tests and so forth. But there are a few basic things that will be looked at in terms of the anatomy and so forth.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Loretta from Johannesburg, for your call. Of course, we would like to take more of your calls. You are leading this conversation this morning, so whatever you want to talk about, rather, that's why Dr. Darren Green is here. That number to dial, 083 913 3728. We're ready and waiting for you.